I'm a firm believer in that gacha games is the next big thing in gaming. And here's like an easy explanation for people that don't know what gacha games are. If you guys ever played Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh, where there's a booster packs in those trading card games, you spend like $5 to $10 and there's a chance for you to get like these shiny cards or these rare cards that are like laminated. That's essentially what gacha gaming is. So there's like these 5-star characters, like the one that I'm playing right now, his name's Kokaro. Usually these 5-star characters are characters that just have better stats, or they're just stronger than your 4-star characters. 4-star characters are the lower tier characters, and 5-star characters are like the premium characters that you can get. Gacha gaming is basically just gambling, except with trading card games, you can get your money back by selling or trading those cards. In gacha games, you can't really do that. So you're essentially gambling with no real incentive. The reason why I think that gacha gaming is the next big thing is because I think there's definitely a shift in the meta when it comes to content creation. You basically used to have to whale. If you guys don't know what whaling is just spending a fuck ton of money on one account, and this could go from like thousands to like hundreds of thousands of dollars. How I would compare is that if you're gonna watch a content creator open trading cards for like a game like Pokemon, you want them to open at least 100 booster packs, and that's where all the views are gonna be at. You don't want to see them open like 1 or 2 booster packs, because that's kind of lame, you know. If it was Mr. Beast's choice, then he would probably open 1,000 booster packs or like 1,000,000. What I'm trying to say is that in gacha games, you want to see people spend hundreds and thousands of dollars and investing a lot of money into one account. And that's basically how the gacha content creation space has been for a while. If I'm broke, I want to see people that are richer than me spend the money that I make in a year, just spend it all in one day of gambling, right? Content creators are incentivized to spend all this money on a gacha game because the millions, the hundreds of thousands of views and sponsorships that they're gonna get from these gacha games are gonna make them their money back. That is like a luxury that, you know, we the regular people don't have. And it's even worse when these gacha games have PvP aspects to them, right? Like there's like a game called Tower of Fantasy, and it's like extremely pay to win. You really are incentivized to spend all this money on a game because you're gonna be the strongest in the guild. If there's like some sort of ladder ranking, you're gonna be the strongest person in there. So there's a little bit of pride in, you know, being number one, being on top of rankings. And this is like really only true with PvP games. The more you pay, the stronger you're gonna be against other players. They don't want to see like some free-to-play player play a PvP game, right? It's just like they're just gonna be so weak as compared to everybody else. So just like a quick example, I play this game called Cookie Run Kingdom, and there's this mode called Arena, which is a PvP mode. I basically have this team comp of 5 cookies that are really strong. I wanted to play on PvP, and there was just this one guy with one singular cookie. It's like one maxed out cookie that was really fucking strong. I was like, you know what? It's just one cookie. I can probably beat him. Like I have 5 different ones, and they should all be able to clear this guy out. That was not the case. My team got destroyed by one character, essentially. He spent a lot of money on a character, so in that case, he did deserve to one-shot my team like that. That's just how the way these gacha games go. So I can't imagine like on a large scale where there's like guilds and shit involved. That's basically my first-hand experience with PvP gacha games. If you were not a content creator, or if you just weren't rich, you should not be whaling for these types of games. In that case, there's also like a gambling aspect in content creation where like you spend money rolling, doing these big rolls for videos, and you could get tons of money back. Good example is Tectone. There's that Staff of Homeless incident, and I think he spent around like $20,000, but he at least got like millions of views on that video, so he actually made a lot of that money back. But let's say you're a content creator, you're new to the space, and then you spent money to make this video and you don't get any views on it, you're essentially just screwed, right? You just went into debt for this one video that you thought was gonna work. Content creation was just really bad for gacha games all around just because you had to spend so much money on them. If you want to be in the gacha space as a content creator, it's just very risky. At least that's how it was back then. Gacha games are really misunderstood, especially the new gen gacha games. Only 1% of the game is just polling, because believe it or not, there's actually still a game to be played, right? I say gacha games in general are all essentially under one category, and that's resource management. The resource that you're managing is the premium currency that you use to poll, and also the materials that you need in order to level up characters and whatnot. Materials for your player progression is very important, because usually in these games there is some sort of time gate system. You can't just get all your materials by paying real life money for it. So for example, in Wuthering Waves, I need stamina in order to farm stuff like this, and it costs me 40 stamina. I can only cap out at 240 in a day, and I get the stamina back through time. So like, let's say you run out of a material and you don't have the stamina, well, you're just gonna have to wait the next day in order to get your stamina back, which kind of sucks, but it's kind of what keeps you playing the game for a while. There's dailies that give you premium currency, usually time gated quests where you can't speedrun the story mode of these games. For example, you need to be like a certain level in order to even start a quest. That means that you have to do some exploration, do some world quests. These are basically just account checks. You need to actually be this strong in order to beat the boss that's upcoming in the story quest, right? There's also events that give you materials in these games. So there's this event going on in Wuthering Waves. This event gives you premium currency. It also gives you extra materials that you can use. These are used for leveling your stats in the game. I just want to talk about Genshin for a second, because Genshin Impact did bring back a certain aspect in gacha games that is forgotten. The main point of me telling you all that is because you're not really supposed— oh, what the fuck? How did I get down here? What in the hell? What did I just do? Yo, whoa, what just happened? I'm just here yapping about a video, and I just clipped through this. Wait. How do I even get out? Huh? Yo, how do I always find bugs in this game? Like, I have a talent for this. This is like the fourth bug that I found so far. Get me out. What is happening? Come on. Come on, dude. Come out. Ah! Like gacha games in general, you're supposed to be progressing every single day. You're not supposed to beat the end game content on the first day, nor is it possible to. Even for like the most casual players that do the bare minimum, like they hop on, they spend their resources and stamina, they do a quest or two, they're still getting stronger little by little every single day. That can either be in the form of getting more premium currency for next character, or like getting more materials for the team comp that you're building. There's basically just zero rush to get to the endgame content, mainly because the PvP aspect of the game is taken out. This makes gacha games really free to play friendly, and because these games are free to play friendly, it's much easier for any content creator to hop on these games and cover them. There's essentially like a big shift in content creation for gacha games. You no longer have to spend an egregious amount of money on gacha games in order to cover the content in those games. You can get tons of views and engagement on your videos without having to do like $1,000 polls or showcases your max builds or maxed out bases, maxed out guilds, maxed out characters. There's a streamer named Enviosity. His identity is basically being free to play, right? He proved that the Genshin is free to play friendly because you can clear the game with all the resources that you're given. If you have decent game knowledge, like rotations, and given enough time to get more resources, you can easily just clear the game. I'm not saying that like gacha games aren't pay to win, nor does spending a lot of money not get you a lot of views, because like they still do. There is still a market for that type of stuff, but it is no longer a requirement for you to get maximum engagement on your videos. So what I'm saying is that there is content to create for whales and for free-to-play players, but in general, the bigger community for outreach is those that are casual or free-to-play. And mainly these free-to-play or casual players are looking for relatability. So that could be like builds or team comps that can make use of the minimum amount of investment on these characters. In fact, I would even argue that Genshin isn't really pay to win. It's more like pay for speed. In Genshin and Honkai, if you get character duplicates, they're called eidolons. They get special abilities that make them really strong. In this game, it's also the same way. So let me show you this character. This is Kalkaro, and these are his duplicates. So if I were to get another duplicate of this character, I gain special abilities that are going to make the character stronger or just make him much easier to use. If you max out character duplicates, you need to spend a lot of money on it. Like I'm talking about like thousands of dollars. And all it does is it makes the damage of these characters go from thousands to literal millions, right? And that sounds really cool and all, but it's like a single player game. And for the most part, it's super overkill. It's mainly content for speedrunners. Casual players might look at it and say, wow, so cool, that's a lot of damage, but it's not the content that they should really give a shit about. But it's still very impressive to look at. If you're wondering if there's different rewards for clearing the game faster, there really isn't. The rewards are all going to be the same. It's only really relatable for the community that have the money to spend or are also content creators. The value of whaling in a gacha game is significantly lower if there's no PvP aspect in it. In games like Genshin, Honkai, or Wuthering Waves, like there's none of that. Nobody really cares. Whaling also has a very negative connotation in the game. If you need a whale to clear certain parts of the game, people are going to say, oh, you have a skill issue, you're bad, like you need to spend this amount of money in order to clear this content. If you whale, you're also unrelatable as a player, so you're essentially just unwatchable as a content creator, right? But yeah, the vast majority of the player base and the viewer base are casual, so they're definitely gonna look for relatable players or content creators that are also free to play and can also clear the game. And that's why Enviosity had such a meteoric rise. And Genshin Impact was essentially the first game to popularize the free-to-play meta. Tectone and MTash are going the free-to-play route in the gacha games that they're covering. They just want to be more relatable to their viewer base. And they also don't want to promote gambling in these types of games because these gacha games are free to play. They are much accessible to people that want to be in the content creation space of gacha games. There are other whoa, what the fuck? Damn, bruh! There are other aspects of gacha games I think will make them really, really popular. Genshin really popularized, and I say popularized, not redefined, lore importance, which existed in other games, but more so in Genshin Impact. There's a lot of people that care about lore in Genshin. They cover the lore and they cover like the story of the game. Those videos get a ton of views because a lot of people don't really understand the lore, or they skip the story altogether because it's just way too hard to digest it all in one time. The lore is always just expanding because the games themselves are expanding. They always have patches and updates that have new releases. There's like always more theories or predictions that can create discussion for the content, which keeps the game alive. Usually PvP games have boring or skippable lore, and you're just better off skipping the lore in PvP games because you just want to get to the PvP part of the game. You don't really give a shit about the single player part. Lore is definitely a big space of content that people can cover in gacha games. People can also make guides. People make guides for new characters that are released every patch. They like to optimize it with like the minimum amount of investment possible. So usually that is like one copy of the character without a weapon. There are usually a lot of characters that bring new mechanics to the game. In Honkai Star Rail, for example, Acheron used debuffers as her main source of supports, and that is new because the traditional supports were like they buff your damage or they let you have an extra turn. Honkai Star Rail is constantly adding new mechanics to characters every single time. Content for new characters or new teams is always just infinite. Every time there's a patch, the world is constantly expanding. In other open world games, so if you think like Witcher, GTA, or Cyberpunk, they can't really expand except for having one DLC. But in Genshin and Honkai, there's a new patch or update every month or so. These companies are incentivized to update the game very often because they make hundreds or millions of dollars per patch. Because there's like a new character or a new zone in these games, because of the amount of content that can be created in gacha gaming, I think it is the next big thing in the content creation space. Honestly, this makes me really excited for more content creators in this space. The competition isn't really crazy with these gacha games because you literally cannot cover all of them. You gotta invest your time every single day, maybe a couple hours in order to get stronger. There's so many new games coming out that it's becoming insanity at this point. Wuthering Waves just came out and there's gonna be new content creators for this space. Azure, Promelia is coming out, Zenless Zone Zero is coming out. There's gonna be new content creators covering covering that game. There's so much to look forward to when it comes to these gacha games. There's no way on earth that one popular content creator is going to be able to cover Genshin, Honkai, Zenless Zone Zero, and Wuthering Waves all at the same time. It is quite literally just going to be impossible. I would say that right now, Genshin and Honkai are really hard to cover as a new content creator because you're just going to be overshadowed by old creators. If you're aspiring to be a content creator, I would definitely look out for Zenless Zone Zero, Azure Premilia, and it's not too late to get on Wuthering Waves. It's only been like 4 or 5 days. Talking about content creators, I am live almost every single day from 4 to 8 p.m. PST. So if you guys want to hop by the stream and just talk about anything or gacha games or the space, all my socials are going to be in the description. My Twitch is also going to be on the description, twitch.tv/koinichon. If you guys like what I was talking about, please like, comment, and subscribe. If you guys didn't like the video, please dislike and comment what you hated about it. That's really all I got. Yeah, I'll see you guys later. Right now I'm going to be on stream for a while, so come on by.